Today, we're going to take a look at why Israeli carrying without a round in the chamber, can actually get you killed. Hey, in today's video, we're going to look at so-called Israeli carry, where you're not carrying around in the chamber, and how doing this is wrong and could potentially get you killed. If you don't know me yet, my name is Caleb Lee. I'm the #1 best-selling author of Concealed Carry 101. I'm also the founder of Patriot Training Center, where we teach civilians like you how to defend themselves using guns like pistols, rifles, and shotguns. So let's get into it. I saw this video going on around online, and it kind of reminded me of why I need to talk about Israeli carry. And we'll just take a look at it real quick here.
Taking the weapon, I'm grabbing it out of the holster, and I'm bringing it to a position where I can cock it. The left hand is ready to cock it. The right hand is holding the weapon. I'm cocking the weapon and getting into the shooting position.
Okay, so that is a video that's been floating around lately, and it reminded me that we should talk about this, because some people think that it's dangerous to carry with a round in the chamber. This is just simply untrue, and this is so-called Israeli carry. Is a lot of people use kind of like an appeal to authority. They're just like, well, you know, the Israelis do it, and they're really like good gunfighters or something like that. So, you know, it must be a good thing to do. So this is like an example that's going around, and there's kind of a lot of theatrics to it. He's kind of over exaggerating a lot of the things, and it looks kind of fast, and people think, oh, you know, there's something to this. It's just a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. According to legend, Israeli carry was started because the entire IDF, the Israeli military, it's got mandatory service. And I guess way back in the day, this is the story that I heard. They had lots of different types of guns. And because it was easier, instead of having to deal with different safeties and loading procedures on different guns and carrying them, you know, cocked and locked, which you would do with a single action firearm versus other types of firearms, they just standardized across. Nobody carries around in the chamber, and then you just simply load it when you're ready to shoot it. So that's the story I heard. Irregardless, it's a poor way to carry a firearm. If you're going to carry a firearm for self-defense, for concealed carry, to protect yourself and your loved ones, it just takes too much time. The fact of the matter is that all modern guns, with the exception of what we're finding out with maybe the SIG P320, are all drop safe. They will not fire unless you press the trigger. You don't even need a safety on modern guns. Like the Glock has internal safeties. There's no external safety. And when the gun is in the holster, and the holster is a properly designed concealed carry holster that properly covers the entire trigger guard, the gun just simply will not go off if you don't pull the trigger. So there's no reason to not carry around in the chamber. And I know this. I think part of this comes from like when you first start carrying a gun out in the public, it's kind of like a weird experience. It's something that you've never done before. So you're very like concerned about the gun on you, and you are worried about it maybe going off. I do remember pretty distinctly, you know, over a decade ago when I first started carrying concealed, that was like kind of a concern of mine. I was a little bit nervous because I had a loaded gun on me, you know, for the first time that wasn't at the gun range or something like that. So I understand that this is a concern. It is something that you need to become comfortable with. But the truth is training and getting yourself comfortable with carrying a loaded gun is the way to do it, because this is simply too slow, and it could potentially get you killed. Because in situations where you actually have to use a gun to defend yourself or you defend your loved ones, you're behind the 8 ball. It is a reactionary attack. You do not have the benefit of being the one to start the fight. You were the one that just found themselves involved in a fight, and there is very, very little time to react. So anything that you do that would slow down you're getting access to that gun and getting into the fight is going to be a bad idea. And in fact, in today's video, I'll show you from actual Israelis how this got a guy pretty much killed. All right, the video I'm about to play, I had up on my blog about over 10 years ago or something like that. It's back from, I think, 2015, but this is at the Damascus Gate, and these are actually Israeli soldiers, and I guess they're doing some security type thing, and they're talking to a guy here. The video is very blurry. You know, it is a security video footage from 10 years ago, but there's a guy down here in the sitting on like a park bench, and he's getting, I guess, kind of interrogated by the soldiers here, and they're asking him to see some papers and stuff. And what you're going to see is he starts to attack one of them with a knife, and he's able to do it. And what I want you to pay close attention to is the partner that's closest to him, how long it takes him to react. Because as you see him draw the gun, you're going to see that he was carrying Israeli style. He did not have one in the chamber, and he has to chamber around first before he can start shooting at this guy and start taking him out. And we'll see what happens. There's no sound here, so you can just watch the guy, the suspect. He's sitting here on the bench. There's 3 soldiers surrounding him. So you would think that they have the upper hand, but the guy's kind of reaching in his pockets, looks around, then just starts stabbing this guy right here. Watch his partner, has to take the gun out, has to cock it first before he can start using it. So if you miss that, you can actually see it. It's pretty clear. Here's his partner. He's starting to go for the draw. You can see his arm is going back. He's going to his holster. And keep in mind, this is an outside the waistband holster. These guys are in full, battle rig, all the type of gear that you would need to get the gun out as quick as possible. It's much faster to draw typically from an outside the waistband holster than it is from drawing from concealment. But you can still see he takes the gun out, pulls it up, and you can see his other hand go to the slide. Now he has to chamber around before he can even start engaging the guy here. And the guy's already over here, still swinging his knife around, trying to shoot people. One of the other soldiers jumps in and gets involved and actually kicks at the guy first before he can get the gun into play. And then he finally starts putting rounds on target. And luckily, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys backing him up, and they all came to the rescue. And it does look like the other soldiers also had to chamber rounds after they got their handguns into the fight. So again, you can see here, pulls it out, has to cock it. Rest will run up and they help him out. Luckily, there were like half a dozen guys with guns backing this guy up, because obviously the very first soldier that got involved right here, he had absolutely zero time to react. He was getting stabbed before he knew that the fight was happening. It looks like he's looking at paperwork here or something like that. He's distracted. And then before you know it, this guy is on him and he's stabbing him, in the neck to get around that body armor, probably. So he would definitely not have time to get to his gun, even if it was unloaded. And then his friend here, it was delayed and he couldn't even get in the fight until he got the round in the chamber. So this is just an example from actual Israel of guys Israeli carrying, and it did not work out very good for them. It's a bad idea there. It's a bad idea back then. It's always been a bad idea. Carry around in the chamber. That's the way you should carry a gun. You should be carrying a gun because it is a life or death saving tool that you need like immediate access to, and anything that you do that would slow down your access to that tool is typically a very bad idea. That said, I'd like to hear your comments in the comments. You tell me if you think I'm wrong, and it won't really matter what gun you're carrying if you do not have the skills to use it. So for instance, we have in the description below, you can check out our 3-second minimum drill standard. That is a standard that I believe that everybody owning a gun for personal defense, whether that's home defense, concealed carry, should be able to pass, so that you know that you have the skills needed to be able to defend yourself in a life or death scenario. In fact, you can try to pass this carrying without a round in the chamber, and you probably won't be able to get the 3 shots under 3 seconds necessary for this to happen. So you can go test it out yourself if you don't believe me, or if you think that carrying without a round in the chamber is the way to go. Either way, it's going to be much faster. It's going to be much more accurate if you just carry around in the chamber. That's the way guns were designed to be carried. So check that out in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.